Good evening, my friends. Are you here for another spooky story? Then come on in. Settle in now, for tonight I have quite the tale to tell. Are you ready? Good. Then let us begin. Cryptids. Some people spend most of their lives trying to prove the existence of these strange and bizarre creatures. A few of them, once thought only to be myth, have proven to be true, such as the giant squid and the devil bird, or ulama, of Sri Lankan lore. Others have been proven false, discovered to be no more than hoaxes, misunderstandings, or were otherwise explained away. Still, the credibility of others eludes us due to lack of concrete evidence. Then, there are others that no one knows exactly what to classify them as, due to how briefly they appear and the lack of witnesses surrounding them. Are these truly cryptids? Are they spirits that are tied to a particular location or people? Or are they neither, but to be explained away in some other way? Listen well, and decide for yourself what the following might have been. Now gather round, and listen well to Shadows and Silver. We all tend to forget a lot of things that happened to us when we were little, especially when some things happen so often that they're as common as breathing. I can't quite remember the first time I saw the shadow cat, but I remember seeing it most often around the ages of 9 and 10, with the earliest probably being around 6 or so. It was one of those things that only seemed to happen periodically, and never had a particular vibe to it, good or bad. I saw it almost entirely around my granny's house, but the only exception being I saw it in one of the fields a few times. I never saw it directly, always out of the corner of my eye. It was bigger than a bobcat, but not so broad as a lynx, and it was solid black. Not to say it was solely an outline with no discernible features, just that I couldn't much tell because it would always vanish whenever I looked right at it. I probably could have written it off as my imagination, but whenever I saw it, it would act the way any animal normally would. It would sit or stand still if it was following me and I stopped, but it also wouldn't always follow me. Sometimes it would just be content to watch me. I never saw it come or go, and it always stayed at least a couple of yards away. At least from me. There were a few times I would look up from what I was doing and catch a glimpse of it standing next to my papa or a handful of his friends, but I never saw it get that close to me. It also never appeared at night, only on bright, warm summer days. Of course, no one else seemed to see it, and none of the other animals nearby seemed to mind, so I never thought anything of it. Most often, I would spot it in the middle of the yard, between the house and this giant oak tree. Other times, I would see it sitting on the hearth in my granny's house. A few times, I saw it plod down the dirt road or across the plowed field a few times after me, but that was pretty much it. I don't recall exactly how often I would see it, but I would say probably a couple of times a month. I don't think I saw it past the age of 13 or 14 either. No longer seeing it neither relieved or upset me, because, as I stated before, seeing this thing was about as mundane as having cereal for breakfast. The second incident happened only once. I was about 15 when this took place, and this was also during a warm, late summer day. I was walking through the yard to cut around behind Granny's house when I happened to look up the hill. I caught a glance of something white and noticed that it seemed like a tall person standing behind a tree. Or at least, it was human-shaped, and I thought I could make out the skin tone of the head nestled in a mass of long silvery white robes and similarly colored hair. I sort of shook my head and looked again, but when I looked directly at it, the figure darted in a silvery white blur behind another tree nearby. After seeing this bizarre person, I took off behind the house and up another hill at the end of the yard, keeping my eye on the tree. I could only go so far as the barbed wire would let me, but it was enough to see beyond the tree, enough to notice that whatever it was had disappeared. This, like the shadow cat, didn't leave me either creeped out or uncommonly happy to have witnessed it. Instead, seeing as there obviously wasn't a person anywhere nearby that might be causing mischief, I just shrugged my shoulders and chalked it up to being another weird thing I just couldn't explain. And, like the shadow cat, I promptly forgot about it until much later, never thinking to bring it up until recently. My question is, what do you all suppose these creatures were? Please leave your theories in the comments below. Ironically, as I was writing this story last night, I looked outside and saw a white cat had wandered into my backyard. I couldn't find it when I ran around the house to see it, probably having scared it off, but still, it's kind of funny. Maybe neighborhood strays like ghost stories too. If you enjoyed this tale, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell too, so you can catch your latest spooky fix the moment it comes out. And check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/phantasmalpoppy. Thank you. Good night, and see you all real soon.